In this video, we'll talk about Viper 4 basic setup with software version 23 or later. So it's a little bit newer style layout than what the older 22 and older software was. Looking at the top of the screen, starting in the top left corner, there's an administrator button. If we tap on the administrator, it brings up our administrator menu down the left side of the screen. So power off, pretty straightforward, shuts the monitor off. Log out logs us out of our administrator user and allows you to create other users, but we don't use that feature. System Manager. When we go into System Manager, it starts off, the first tab shows us our current software version. So this one's at 25. It also has the option to revert to last version. So the last version this monitor was 23. So if we run into a software issue, we can hit the red arrow button there and backdate it. Factory reset will hard wipe this monitor and should not be hit unless you're ready for some work to reset it back up. This particular sprayer has a slingshot modem or a wireless connection to the internet. With that, if we hit the little double arrow button by the frog, with the frog over here, it'll actually search the internet and look for updated software versions. Now, just because there's a new software version that pops out does not mean you should hit install and install it right away. It is always best to check with your dealer and see if it's worthwhile doing or if it needs to be done, or maybe we shouldn't be doing it quite yet. So it wouldn't hurt to have a conversation before you just start updating software. The second tab over shows us our hardware for our Raven nodes, or our ISO nodes. So this machine has 3 nodes: the Raven RCM rate control module, the auto boom, or boom height control, and the SC1 steering node. So on the right side, they'll show us our current software version and our newest. And you'll notice that our current is actually newer than what's in the machine, which basically means what Raven has online that you have available, the dealer can sometimes have newer versions than that. Again, if you're going to be updating nodes, you should be consulting your dealer first to make sure that you should be doing it, or maybe there's a known issue, or maybe there's no improvement for you. So it's always good to check with your dealer. The key tab at the top shows us which unlocks we currently have in the monitor. So this machine has single product variable rate control and ISO section control. You will notice at the bottom we have temporary unlocks, and there's 2 remaining. I believe they're both 20-hour unlocks. If you hit activate, it unlocks every feature of this monitor. But once they're used up, we can't add any more. Now, a 20-hour unlock could be used for something like Raven Auto Turn, to have the unit turn at the end of the headlamp, so you could try it before you buy it. The next tab over is the frog jumping over the modem. That's our slingshot tab. And this unit does have a slingshot modem in. So you can see its connection, signal strength. You can see that pre-populated jobs, cloud jobs, and over-the-air transfer is all active. So it has an active subscription and ready to do vehicle-to-vehicle or job transfers. I'm going to exit out of there. Go back into our administrator tab. The next button on the left side is File Manager. So in File Manager, the first tab that comes up is your files. So on the left side, you can see a list of fields, guidance lines, boundaries. There's a whole list there. Now, if I hit the double arrows, it pushes them all to the right-hand side. Once they're on the right-hand side, I can either hit the trash can to delete them, and they're gone forever. I can also hit the file button. Now, if I hit the file button, I can either push them up to the Slingshot portal, or I can stick them to a USB if I have one in. So I always tell guys, never delete files, because you might delete the wrong ones. Always export them to a USB stick. That way, if you delete the wrong stuff, we can pull them back using that USB stick like a trash can or a recycle bin, right? We can pull stuff back out of them. So by clicking all the files over to the left, that's moving our jobs, our boundaries, our guidance lines. Everything is gone. Now, if I hit the X, it puts them back on the left side where they're safe. Now, if we want to delete maybe a certain guidance line, we can hit this funnel, which is our filter option, and we can pick a file type. So if we wanted to do a guidance line, I can hit guidance lines and filter to guidance lines, and you'll see this machine has 3 guidance lines. Regina north-south, a test east-west, and a test north-south. If I wanted to push one of those to the right side, I could either export it to a thumb drive, delete it, or the pen and pencil on the right-hand side would allow me to edit the name of it if I had it named with the wrong field number or something. Again, if I X, it puts it back on the left side and the file is safe. Now, when we look at jobs, we have jobs and pre-populated jobs. So some of you will have jobs. So job is just a basic job, pretty straightforward. Now, if you're doing cloud jobs, like if you're doing vehicle to vehicle or cloud jobs, you would do pre-populated jobs. So you can see it brings up different things. That test job was made before cloud jobs was turned on. Then I turned cloud jobs on because this machine is going to do cloud jobs. And then there is that job. So if I want to get rid of last year's jobs, I could bring up either jobs or pre-populated jobs, push the files to the right side, and I can export it to a thumb drive. And then I would have it to load in another system or put back in or move to a new monitor or that sort of thing. So it's very important to make sure that you filter down to jobs, guidance lines, or scout groups, or whatever you're looking for, to delete only what you want to delete. And again, if you don't delete them, you push them to a thumb drive. That way you can pull them back in case you screw up. If you hit the trash can, they're gone forever. We can't help you. The next tab over is the picture of a thumb drive. This is what we can use to import files into this monitor. So I would select a USB, and then I can pick a job type. So I can either pull in jobs, guidance lines, a grower farm field structure, Slingshot archived, field boundaries, flags, lines, zones, software, node updates, ISO task data, street maps, widget profiles. So if I set up one monitor the way I like it and I have a second unit, I can push that data to a thumb drive, stick the thumb drive in, and use this tab to import data back in. The next tab over shows us our file transfer history. So if you're running Slingshot and data is flowing up to the cloud, you will see if there's any errors or if the data is flowing properly. File management options. Send jobs to Slingshot should always be checked if you're using Slingshot and have an active Slingshot account, as well as enable cloud jobs. Exporting the grower farm field data to a USB as ISO task data. So if you've set up your grower farm field data on one monitor, want to push it to another one, you would hit that button and it would push it to your USB. As well, this button does the same thing for your widget profiles or your layout pages. New feature with version 23 and later, enable update street maps over Wi-Fi or cellular. So if you have a cellular modem or a Slingshot modem, you can check this and the map page on the whole page will update automatically. Or if you don't have a Slingshot modem, you can connect to the Wi-Fi from your shop or your house or hotspot it to your phone and update those street maps. There's a satellite map option here, but you need a subscription to do that one. User profile. In here, I like to make sure the time zone is set properly so that my jobs have the correct time on it. Now for Saskatchewan, we are UTC -6 for time zone. English language is good. How our units look, US, PSI, that kind of stuff. This tab here shows us our day or night mode, our screen brightness, our LED brightness, and our automatic power cycles. So if this monitor is too bright, you can dim it down for yourself. The alarm tabs, I highly recommend having audible alarms enabled as well as pop-up alarms enabled. Audible backup warning is sometimes on these machines. It'll beep off the monitor when you're in reverse, just like the backup alarm does outside. Some people really don't like that and disable it, but you do have the option to have that on. Make sure you don't adjust your audio volume too low that you can't hear certain alerts and alarms. You don't want to be able to hear that. Please don't lock your monitor. If you lock it and forget the password, we have to hard wipe it and rebuild it. So try not to do that. Now you'll notice on the bottom there are 2 tabs down here. If I swipe to the right, we have our product control user settings. So our min and max rate OK or percent of target values are set at 80 and 120. So once we're 80% of our target rate, it'll switch to the low rate color, which is red. Once we're 120% of the target rate, we will be changing